Now I'm just going through my list. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to share with the people?
I have my list is at the bottom. Yeah. So because we're a little.
I do mine first.
Yeah. Ladies first. Oh, sorry. You're Norwegian. It's got to be all the same. Sorry.
Okay. Boys first or men first then. Because, it doesn't work with me. You've learned though. I like that because we've spent so much time together, and by now you know that you just open the door and walk in, and I'm happy with that. But in the beginning, you were a hassle to walk around with because he would constantly do all these crazy things. And I was just looking at you and go, can you just move?
It's crazy things. It's just me being polite. To me, it's just like you open a door for people, you open a door for a lady. I know I'm old, I'm whatever you want to call it. And then it's sort of like, and you just kept giving me crap for it all the time. Like, no, you go. It's like,
don't patronize me. I can open a door myself. Like, move out of my way.
I know. I'm just trying to be nice and helping and respect you, and it's everything. It's like, Anyways.
Welcome, everyone, to the Power Platform Boost podcast, your weekly source of news and updates from the world of the Power Platform and the Microsoft community, with your host, Nick Dolman and Ulrika Ackerbeck.
Hello.
Nick.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Where are you?
Home. Where am I? I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now, actually. Just had a little bit of a vacation with the missus. It's her birthday this week, so we thought it'd be nice to get a little getaway and celebrate that. So we're here in Nashville. So very interesting city. I was here once before, briefly. I think there was a UG summit way back when, but had always wanted to come back. It's a cool place. There's lots of places on Broadway. They're playing music almost in every bar and restaurant when you walk down the strip. And a lot of people went to bourbon distillery. We watched a hockey game. It was it's overall a fun weekend, and just got a couple work things to wrap up over the next day or two, and then so, and you're back home.
Good. Sounds perfect. Yeah, I'm back home, and I'm enjoying that as well because there's no ice and there's no minus degrees, so I can go running. Yay!
Nice.
There you go.
Cool.
Small wins or small pleasures or
small pleasures, small victories. Yeah, you got to take it. This is just life, right? It's remember like last year at Dublin, we talked about the sugar and the shit, and we gotta take it both.
The keynote. That was so good. The sugar and the shit. No, just celebrate everything. That's my mantra. Everything's good.
Yes. Cool.
We have so many news items to go through today. We're just going to dive right in. What a couple of weeks it's been. And I wanted to kick off with something that I was listening to while on the sunbed in Spain last week, which was the Low Code Approach episode with Chris Huntingford and Michael Roth, where they talk about security and governance. And, those are a good friend of ours, both of them, and we love them. And we love them even more because they actually love governance and security. And so, just hearing them talking about that and so much knowledge and so much insights, it's really an episode worth listening to for sure. So definitely recommend you checking out that episode.
Yeah, I took a listen. Yeah, those guys both in real life, they're a riot, but they were a riot on this podcast as well. I'm not sure what the hosts were to expect because they ran with it really well. So it was really interesting. And talking about the different things with governance and about the concept of being scary of Chris Huntingford being an admin. And I think, in the reality, he'd probably make an awesome admin, but it was just sort of some of that chaos that was involved with that.
Yeah, I would have him as an admin in my environment for sure.
Absolutely.
And then you would never know what would pop up. It's kind of an Easter egg in of itself.
Absolutely.
And I saw something pop up in my environment this week as well. Healthy ALM for Power Platform, a pop-up thing. And now the environment's kind of full of those at the moment. So either if you're going to make the powerup.com, you'll get a notification about what is it? some register for some event. I can't remember what it was. Maybe BizApps, the BizApps event.
Or the business. It's the thing that they do online every year when they talk about all the new stuff that's coming up and part of the wave, I think.
Right, exactly. And so there you have a lot of those popping up. And I remember from MPPC that people are kind of, because then the pop-up would be register for MPPC. And if you did, it didn't go away. So you were kind of prompted for, I think it was 2 months or something in advance. And you would see that every day, even though you dismiss it. And people were kind of getting a bit agitated about it. But I saw something that was really cool, that you can now set your preferred solution in your Power Platform environment. Yes. And it was just so easy. Just click the button and choose your environment and save, and then you're done. And I love those small little, making you do the right thing. Because you're being able to do this before, but it wasn't in your face. Now it was in my face, and I just 3 clicks and I was done.
Yep.
I loved it. Yeah.
And it's great because now you can go into like the regular tables or the flows or whatever and just start creating stuff, and it's going to be in the right solution. And it's interesting because I never use these tools when I teach a course or I'm doing my own stuff. Immediately I create a solution, I go in the solution, that is my entry point. And then I know I've talked to other people that they're like, oh, I'm going to go create this table. And they go into tables and I'm going, whoa, what are you doing? Oh, I'm creating a table. This is where you create tables. Like, no. You create it in the solutions. You go in the solutions first. And now it's like, no, go for it. We set our default solution. You're good to go. So, yeah. And
then, and so is that really a good thing? If you think of it from that perspective, you're not teaching the low coders to do it the right way. Maybe this is a way for us as, more advanced developers to make even more money, because you're not teaching them how to do the right thing. You're kind of just making them doing the right thing. They have no idea that they're doing the right thing. And those of us who actually knows why it's and what it is, maybe this makes us even better.
Maybe. I don't know, because it's like backup cameras in cars. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's cool, it helps, but really, are you teaching good habits? Like, you still should use your mirrors, you still should look, you shouldn't trust the camera. Yes. But I know people, oh, the camera's there, I'm fine, I can back up, and so.
And what about the beep? We had a new car. It was a lease. The first ever trip we made, my husband backed into a concrete boulder thing because the new car didn't have the beep, beep, beep. It had a camera, but it didn't have the beep. And the old car did have the beep, not the camera. So we just, bad habits and didn't look. And suddenly it was a dent. And I was so happy because he made the dent and I didn't.
You made the first dent.
Yes. That was so good. It was downhill from there. On to other things. So another thing that I saw today. Now I'm just going through my list. Nick, did you have anything you wanted to share with the people?
I have my list is at the bottom. Yeah. So because we're a little.
I do mine first.
Yeah. Ladies first. Oh, sorry. You're Norwegian. It's got to be all the same. Sorry.
Okay. Boys first or men first then. Because, it doesn't work with me. You've learned, though. I like that because we've spent so much time together. And by now, you know that you just open the door and walk in. And I'm happy with that. But in the beginning, you were a hassle to walk around with because he would constantly do all these crazy things. And I was just looking at you and go, can you just move?
It's crazy things. It's just me being polite. To me, it's just like you open a door for people. You open a door for a lady. I know I'm old, I'm whatever you want to call it. And then it's sort of like, and you just kept giving me crap for it all the time. Like, no, you go. It's like,
don't patronize me. I can open a door myself. Like, move out of my way.
I know. I'm just trying to be nice and helping and respect you, and it's everything. It's like, anyways. So.
I actually saw a book once written by a boyfriend to a Norwegian girlfriend saying, if you're foreign and you have a Norwegian girlfriend, this is the things you need to know. And that was one of the things. Just don't do anything for her. Don't pave the way. Don't accommodate for anything because she'll take it as a slight that she can't do stuff herself. So yes. Yeah, kind of a weird bunch. But you're getting the hang of it, Nick. You're very good. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I listen and I learn. Speaking of learning things, making sure we go off the
segueing into
the segue. So this week it came out, there was a blog about you can call SQL stored procedures from Power Effects within Power Apps. So this kind of caught my eye because this is one of those, you couldn't do that before. And I guess it makes sense. You couldn't. But to be fair, all the Power Apps that I've been making have been based on Dataverse, and they have been pretty much exclusively. I know I've done a few things like attaching it to a SharePoint list, and I know you can attach it to Excel online. And actually, I'm preparing some training material for a customer that does not use premium connectors. So I got to get my head a little bit wrapped around that. But this whole idea of, creating a Power App and attaching it to SQL, which I knew you could do that. To me, it was just, you could attach it to Azure SQL. But I didn't realize you could also talk about learning things. You could attach it to on-premise SQL servers as well, which I know there's probably not a lot out there anymore, but I thought, this is really interesting. But then the other thing, writing stored procedures, I used to do a lot of SQL way back in the Great Plains days and did some software development around that before. This is kind of before the CRM Dataverse world kind of took over. And then even to be fair, CRM originally, even though it had that middle business layer, SQL was the back end. And then there's the whole thing, is it SQL or is it SQL? I switch both because, but then we always used to do things. We used to write stored procedures on SQL. Writing stored procedures allows you to it's like writing plugins. You do a lot of stuff on the server side, manipulate data, do other things. You can even trigger off emails and do stuff like that. So the fact now that you can call this from your Power Apps within Power Effects. Now, I've been, I would say, fighting with Power Effects quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. To be honest, I was fighting with something on Friday that just was like, why isn't this beeping thing not working? And then realized I just had a bracket that was like in the wrong place. And that's all it was. And it still, the function worked, but it just didn't return the results. And then as soon as I moved that bracket, everything, like the sun shone, the angels sang and everything. So this is Power Effects learning, but you can call SQL stored procedures. So we're going to have the link to that in the show notes as well. That was a lot of talking about a new feature, but I think it's pretty cool. So.
Yeah. And it also touched on something I think is very important, that these are the things you need to know, the things with the brackets and everything. At ACDC, one of the girls on my team, she was asking me, this keep failing. She got the red error and when she in her Power App in her code, right? And so, and then I said, well, show me the code. And she showed it to me. And in Norwegian, if you have the Norwegian browser, there's something there, then it's a comma, not a semicolon. And that was the only thing. And she was like, how was I supposed to know that? Who knows something like that? And I go, well, I've been doing this for a few years. You kind of pick up one thing or another. But I get where she's coming from. How on earth she would have spent so much time before it occurred to her that it could be something like that. And to be fair, she didn't really realize that there was a mistake until I pointed it out either. So that's something else. But these things, it's so good that we mention them, because to some people it will be obvious, duh. And then to some others it will be just, oh wow, was it really just that bracket? Because that's something they've been struggling with as well.
We should do a new category on our show, or maybe this would be a good a blog series of things you don't know to ask and things we don't know to tell you.
Yes, and definitely.
Let's
make a list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a Boost Quest coming up. The 10 things that no one told you that you need to know just because they forgot, because it's a long time since they learned it, right?
Exactly.
But then speaking of ACDC, oh, sorry.
Nope, you go ahead.
I'm going to segue because yes, talking about ACDC, because that's a hackathon that was in January, February this year. And so our good friend Thomas Sandsør, he wrote a CRM Keeper. He wrote a blog post that was titled ACDC 2024, Why This is the Ultimate Hackathon. Boop, 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 boop.
Yes.
I love that. And also, if you read it, it's an homage to you. That's what it is. And your mindset as a developer going in on Thomas's team and just saying, let's just not do what we do for our work. Let's do something completely new. And I think it kind of threw Thomas a bit. It wasn't prepared for it. And he's so competitive. He loves doing things he knows. And he hates learning new things. That's true. Thomas, that's true. So for him, that's kind of a kick in the butt that he really wasn't prepared for. And also, it's not a good strategy if you want to win, and Thomas wants to win everything. So, do you have anything to say? Well, how do you feel? The sports commentary. How does it make you feel?
Well, when I first read it, I was just sort of like, I mean, to me, it's very humbling to me to know that to me, it's just sort of like, can I be on your team? Because I really, really want to go to ACDC, and someone else doesn't want me on their team. So no, I'm just
get over it. Oh, you big child.
So no, it was good, but I also I think Thomas is like, okay, cool, like we'll do something really cool in Power Pages, and I'm like, no, like I want to, like I do Power Pages like day in day out. That's what people know me for. Yes, I've been doing it for a long time, but I do know other things, and I want to dive in. I need to know more about AI. I need to know more about Power Apps, and we do business implementation stuff every day. Let's do something completely different. Let's build some games. Let's have some fun. And we sort of dove into it, but it wasn't just me on the team. Like everybody bought into the concept. Yeah, let's do something new. Let's do something a little bit crazy. And even Thomas kind of reluctantly like, oh, okay. Like, I don't have any ideas. So it was just like, unless you come up with something better, we got to do something. Right. So we dove into it, and it was just, I fought, I struggled with, trying to figure out code, trying to figure out how. I'm sure people have been doing Canvas apps for years, can do like in 5 seconds. It took me a lot longer to kind of wrap my head. What does this mean? How is this going to work? And it all began to come together. And then we had other team members, Elise and Nikolai and Pooja. Like it was great because it's like, Pooja was working on the AI stuff, and I was like, some weird data was coming back. So I kind of would lean over, and he would kind of lean over from his monitor. And I said, can you fix this or whatever? And he kind of nodded. Yeah. And then he would go, and you hear click, 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 click. And then 5 minutes later, try it now. And I'm like, perfect. And it would just work. It was just that, I don't know. We all gelled together as a team. It just was such a great experience. And I do appreciate what Thomas wrote. I really do. It means a lot to me. It kind of, throws a bit of, I feel this, okay, I'm responsible for, maybe kind of providing this guidance or just helping along. And I'm glad people I'm humbled and honored that people can learn from it. But I just also kind of like, at the end of the day, I'm like everybody else. I'm just trying to figure stuff out and try to make my way in the world kind of thing. Right. So, but anyways, again, thank you, Thomas. I did reach out to you already on this, and I do appreciate the blog post. And again, I appreciate the whole team from Point Taken. It was just truly an amazing experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and ACDC is so much fun. And it's, and I've seen so many blog posts come out from, I think all of the teams, have written blog posts about their experience, and it's so humbling, so good to see the positive feedback that we get from these teams through these blog posts. So, or I shouldn't say we, because I'm not in the committee anymore, but the committee does get a lot of good feedback from it. So if hackathons or anything for you, it's the next the hackathon for ACDC 2025 is already, the planning is already started. So
I would say at some point, you don't have to go every year, but sometime in your Power Platform career with the community, try to figure it out, make it, like, put a team together, make the trip to Norway. If you're a company that has a team working in Power Platform, consider this as a team building event exercise. You will not regret it. It is worth every penny, and you'll get the returns is just amazing. I can't say enough about how much of a great experience this was from a learning perspective. Lifelong friendships were made. This podcast came out of late night conversations from ACDC from last year. So yeah,
absolutely. Definitely. And we're closing up on the 1 year date, and we have a very special episode planned for you guys. It's going to be a bonus to the regular episode. So keep an eye out for that. And another another podcast that I wanted to shout out to is, this is new to me, the Copilot Connection. It's a podcast with, I think there's the hosts, two hosts, both from Avanade, but it's not an Avanade project. They're both MVPs, so they're kind of doing the same thing that we're doing, actually. And they're 11 episodes in, and this episode is about bursting Copilot myths. And I'm not going to spoil all of them, but for instance, that they see a lot of people commenting that Copilot will learn from your prompts and get better and understand you and write from more towards your kind of style of writing. And that's not true. Simply put, the Copilot that you pay for will not learn from your prompts. It's only the free version of ChatGPT, the Copilot, that will actually learn from your prompts. So your data is secure and you don't have to worry about it from a data perspective. And also that they mentioned there's also something I think is probably valuable to our listeners as well, that consider your Dynamics 365 apps and your implementations of that. Copilot on top will struggle if your Dynamics 365 business applications are heavily customized. And I like that, because that is something to really consider when you're building in and start implementing new Dynamics 365 apps, that heavily customizing those will potentially make Copilot work a bit slower and having more trouble finding your data. So stay within the frame of the best practices and try not to customize too hard, and maybe make some hard choices along the way to make sure your Copilot can get to your data in a good way.
Yeah, I think because I've been doing quite a bit of reading on Copilot lately, I've been playing a bit in Copilot Studio. And I think what I'm learning from it's that this is going to be a whole new aspect of system design. We always talk about the data model, but we talk about the data model in terms of user experience, how well users can get data, create data, and go through a flow. And we're talking about end users as well. Of course, for the portal side, what's the path of least resistance? We don't have to train them up and stuff. But this is a whole new aspect of it. It's like we got to consider our data for potentially using for AI generation down the road. Is this data going to be structured and stored in such a way that the Copilot's going to be able to make sense of it and then provide value to those same end users? So again, this is another instance of, Copilot is not going to take your job. It's going to add jobs. So
exactly right. Very good. Another thing that I saw regarding Dynamics 365 is something from Vivian Voss. She has a tip. It's tip 18, probably, associated with some form of series, unmanaged customizations. Now, we talked about this last episode, that it's in preview. You'll be able to lock an environment down so that no one can create unmanaged customizations. You can prevent the creation of unmanaged layers. Now, she brings up the fact that breaks a lot of things in Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, formerly known as marketing, because that is a whole different beast and is dependent upon you creating records, and the config for Customer Insights is very small compared to the configuration is kind of what you create. You create records. That's what you do. So actually, she tried to turn it on and it broke so many things, and there isn't a cure. They don't know how to fix it yet. And that's part of this being the preview feature that it is. This is one of the reasons why it's preview, because they haven't figured that out yet. So just another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, and that's Vivian Voss, right? I think Teamins her company.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry. Vivian. It's Vivian Voss. Perfect. Vivian. Our good friend, Vivian. Yeah.
We know her.
Good. We know her. Our good friend. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't realize.
I mean, again, that just shows the content just shines through above the person, right? So
absolutely. So we don't pick our favorites. We pick the best content. Done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cool. I had just one other thing that, I mean, your list is a bit longer, but a very quick little thing. I noticed shared mode for devices, which is just interesting, coming to Apple devices. And I guess this has already been
shared mode.
Shared device mode. So
okay.
Think about it, you build a power app in that's in a factory or a warehouse, and then at your end of your shift, you basically sign out of your device and you hand it over to the person that's taking over your shift, or you put it back on the shelf or something like that. This way, this allows those different users to be able to log in on those devices. Again, I didn't realize this was an issue. I haven't worked doing any kind of system implementation in a warehouse in quite a few years. I did a big project years ago in a warehouse where, at that time we was still kind of barcode devices and those things, those scanners that you buy. So makes sense. You use apps, right? But then you think about it, to sign out of an app and to sign in with a different profile, that can be extremely cumbersome. And then I realized apparently this was a big issue, and apparently now they've got it. So again, learning new stuff by, oh, by the way, we fixed it. I'm like, I didn't know there was a problem. But to be fair, if I get into a project where we do need to consider shared device mode, at least now I'm more informed. So this is, I know it's hard to keep up on the stuff we need to keep up on, but sometimes it's good to keep up on the stuff that maybe on the periphery that we just need to be at least be aware of, because as good consultants, we could be taught, like, you and I, we could be talking on a new project to a new new persons. They say, oh, by the way, we have a warehouse component to this, and just sort of being aware of some of these things, just add it to the knowledge bank and continue on, basically. So that kind of jumped out at me as well.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the things that I got from the Up podcast as well. That was kind of the primary value, that you learn small snippets enough to know that there's something there that you can pull when you need it. And I've had so many customer meetings where someone throws out the requirement, and then my mind goes ding, ding, ding out here somewhere. It's like, oh, I've heard about this. And I think that's gold, right? If you can remember stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. Right. And this also kind of ties into another new feature that I saw for Canvas apps: optimize the screen for devices. And that is in preview. And it is within the modern framework. You can now have both device screens and components automatically optimized for the devices that they're on. And you need to do a little work in order for this to work. So it's kind of start new, start fresh. With the modern framework for this to work. But yes, definitely something to look into. And we'll put show notes. I saw Mónica Perez had a really good blog post showing you exactly the steps you need to take in order to enable it and to make it work, and how to make this work for screens and for components. So we'll share links to that in the show notes.
Cool. And just keeping half an eye on time, do we want to dive into the events, or do we want to maybe try to cover the other ones off?
Do we need to talk a lot about the events? Because we always talk a lot about the events, but maybe because you're hosting one, maybe you want to talk about it?
We'll be quick. Okay.
Okay, let me just cram one more in there first, because I really wanted to share the date picker in Power Pages Revisited on the Power Platform and Dynamics CRM tip of the day. The fact that you can tie two date controls to one another, so that for instance, when you're traveling, you can't have the departure date after the arrival date kind of thing. So you need to tie those two together. I think that I find that's a very common requirement. So if you're working with that with Power Pages, check out the link in the show notes to that tip of the day.
And it's cool that tip of the day seems to be back. They seem to be quiet for quite a while, but it's really cool that they're back doing stuff again.
And this is tip 1445. That should tell you something about the backlog that you can go through if you want to.
Yes. I remember being there live at a conference when they did tip 1000.
So cool.
They used to do it when they started, they used to do it every day, which is crazy if you think about it now. But.
Well, that tells me a little bit about the number as well. It's crazy and very, very cool. Right. Okay. Let's dive into the events.
Okay. I do want to just a quick shout out. Victor Dantes has put out Power Pages 0 to Hero, which I believe you're involved with. I'm involved with, plus a whole bunch of other people. That's in sort of the Power Pages community, other MVPs or up and coming MVPs or soon to be MVPs. So if you're into Power Pages, I think there was a deadline for that, but I'm pretty sure, knowing Victor, he'll probably republish or repurpose this content. So if you're learning Power Pages, this is yet another great resource for you to dive into and again, this is the community coming together. Speaking of the community coming together, Canadian Power Platform Summit, which we are sold out. We had a live stream last week. Check that out. You could look on LinkedIn to see, we talked about the fact that we are sold out, but do get on the waiting list if you still want to go. I think we're going to try to, as people drop off, people will come on. We do have a hard deadline because Microsoft does require the names to get in, but hopefully if you're on the waiting list, I'm really hoping that things will move for you, that you'll be able to come. Of course, you'll be there, which is really exciting. Like, finally, you get to come to Canada. So I'm excited about that. We have to talk about Color Cloud as well, because we're both going to be at Color Cloud. I'm doing a pre-day. You're doing a session. We are again, big shout out to Color Cloud. I believe you can still register for that one as well. I don't believe they're sold out yet, but chances are they will be if these events are selling out.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows? So that's at colorcloud.rocks. So check that out. That's in Hamburg, Germany. So if you're in the area, and it's Europe, it's like the size of a big mall for us North Americans. So seriously, just pop over to Hamburg mid-April for that. So, and then we'll talk more about the other events that are upcoming episodes that are coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I saw that Nordic Summit, the call for speakers are out. So that's coming in the fall. And there's so many cool events to look out for in the fall as well. So yes, we do have them on our radar. Oh, there's so many cool things coming up. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, exactly. And I'll see
Super excited.
I'll see you next week in person.
I know. Yes, I know. Yeah. It's under a week and then I'm going to go to Seattle first for MVP Summit and then Canada after that. Yep. And I'm just checking my calendar to see when the next episode is going to come out. And that is going to be March 20th. And that's going to be the week after MVP Summit. So we're going to be recording a bit late because I'm still traveling back from Canada on the 18th when we're usually recording. So, but we can take that offline, of course.
Yes, and we'll have a bit of a surprise in between as well to celebrate our 1 year episode, our 1 year anniversary of the Power Platform Boost podcast. And we truly appreciate all the support we've gotten, the subscribes, the downloads, the likes, just the messages we got. It was a message on LinkedIn from Keith. Forget his last name. Sorry, Keith. We really love the comment, the write up you did for us. You did on LinkedIn. Greatly appreciate it. And that's a big shout out to you. And thanks for listening. And thanks for sharing that. That meant a ton to both of us to hear that.
Oh, yeah, it really did. And if you like what you're hearing and you're listening and you're sharing with one colleague or community friend, then that would mean the world to us. Because, our network is, as big as it is limited. And if you can share it with one new person that hasn't heard of us, then that would mean so much to us. So thank you guys for listening. And we'll talk to you next week or the week after or something. See you when you see you.
Yes, we'll see you when you see you. Cool. All right.
Right. Okay. Have a good day. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for listening. And if you like this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. Make sure to leave a rating and review of your favorite streaming service and makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on the social media platforms and make sure you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your hosts, Ulrika Åkerbeck and Nick Dolman, and see you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news.